Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Good morning. Welcome students to a class on the Sangeeta Ratnakara, its importance in the growth of dance after the Natya Shastra, and an introduction to Nartana Adhyaya. Introduction and antiquity of the treatise. Sangeeta Ratnakara, the treatise on musicology by Sharangadeva, is considered an authoritative work on music and dance. Sharangadeva lived along the middle of the 13th century under the patronage of King Singhana, whose capital was the present day south of Maharashtra called Devagiri. The work, a landmark in the development of Indian music, both Hindustani and Carnatic, made a great impact on almost all writers in the subsequent period, as it formed a useful bridge between the ancient and the medieval periods. It is also called Sapta Adhyay as it contains 7 chapters. They are Swaragata Adhyaya, Raga Viveka Adhyaya, Prakirna Adhyaya, Prabandha Adhyaya, Thala Adhyaya, Vadya Adhyaya, and finally Nartana Adhyaya. This last, its 7th chapter of volume 4, contains the seminal treatise on dance. It is primarily a compilation of the dancing portions from Natya Shastra and is greatly influenced by the commentary of Sri Abhinava Gupta on the Natya Shastra, the Abhinava Bharati. The first 40 verses here are the same as Abhinaya Darpana, which is much later than Abhinava Bharati and is only ascribed to the legendary Nandikeshwara. This Nandikeshwara cannot logically be the same one who is already referred in Abhinava Bharati and other texts as an authority of music and dancing, and also as the founder of the Rasa school in Rajashekara's Kavya Mimamsa. There is no mention or reference to Abhinaya Darpana before Sangeeta Ratnakara, and hence the commentators King Simha Bhupala, who authored Sangeeta Sudhakara commentary, and Kallinatha, the author of Kalanidhi commentary, have traced these introductory verses as given by Sharangadeva himself. They aver that this illustrious writer, who rightfully has treated dance and music as inseparable, owed his borrowings only to the Natya Shastra and the Abhinava Bharati. Sangeeta Ratnakara, its importance in the growth of dance after Natya Shastra, an introduction to Nartana Adhyaya. The Nartana Adhyaya consists of 1678 shlokas or couplets, and the entire subject matter is broadly divided into Natyotpatti or origin and Vibhaga or facets, Angas, Pratyangas, Upangas, Nritta Karanas, Angaharas, Charis, Sthanas, Mandalas, Lasangas, procedure for practice, merits of dance use, teacher, Sampradaya or troupe, Shuddha Paddhati, Gaundala Vidhi, Perani, Acharya, Nata, Nartaka, Vaitalika, Charana, Kohalatika, Sabhapati or President of Assembly, and Sabhasado or members of audience, and last but not the least the 9 rasas with detailed description. The clear statement that the art of dancing Nartana is reputed to be threefold, comprising of the triad of Natya, Nritya and Nritta, is given in the beginning itself, Shloka 3. The origin of dance by Sharangadeva is given similar to that of dramaturgy by Bharata in Shlokas 4 to 8. as also that the various limbs having evolved from the 4 Vedas. The art of dancing is given the exalted status higher than the bliss of Brahman, bestowing the Purusharthas beyond which there is nothing to be seen or heard in this world. Shlokas 9 to 13. Natya and Nritya should be witnessed by one who has fulfilled his duties, as it would bestow the desired goal of liberation. These are to be performed during festive occasions, while the third Nritta has varied employment, including coronation of kings, festival processions, temple processions, weddings, union of dear ones, victory, birth of sons, and such auspicious events. In Shlokas 13 to 16, Sharangdeva says that the ancient sage Bharata describes Natya as indication through gestures of meanings of both word and sentence of dramatic texts, which suggests that sentiments and is employed only in dramas. Natya is defined as identical with rasa manifestation with dancing, that consists of the 4 types of abhinayas that suggest the relevant determinants, vibhavas, of the said poetry or text in Shlokas 16 to 19. Angika, Vachika, Aharya and Satvika are defined as the demonstration with artistic gestures of limbs, presentation by vocal recital, decoration with makeup, costumes and stage decor, and the representation of internal emotions of the actor, which have direct reciprocal impact on spectators in the Shlokas 20 to 22. After speaking about the twofold styles of Loka, which is worldly, and Natya, which is canonical or as per the text, Sharangdeva indicates the further distinction and kinds of these styles as well in Shlokas 22 to 26. He has defined Nritya as Angika Abhinaya, which indeed is being practiced in today's times as well. This is the expressional dancing which is typically found in the Marga, embellished further by Tanjore quartet. In fact, Sharangdeva avers that it is Nritya that is well known as Marga in the Shlokas 26 to 27. When it comes to Nritta, he says that it comprises of movements of the body devoid of any expressive gestures, consisting of karanas and angaharas, as one of the components of Angika Abhinaya, which adds beauty. Nritya and Nritta are Thandava, forceful, dynamic, and Lasya, delicate or graceful. 3 varieties of Nritta are given as Vishama, acrobatic movements like rotation with ropes, Vikata, imitating and ludicrous, and Laghu, Anchita and minor karanas in the Shlokas 27 to 32. The chapter on Angika Abhinaya is indeed exhaustively handled. Some points to be noted are the head postures given by Bharata are enumerated, added to which he gives the ones enumerated by other experts since ages in Shlokas 74 to 78. The hastas, hand gestures, asamyuta, single-handed and samyuta conjoined are the same 24 and 13 respectively. Additions like Ardhapataka and Chandrakala have been made in times after Sangeeta Ratnakara. He himself says that there can be infinite number according to infinite objects in Shlokas 286 to 87. These hastas are used in Abhinaya in the view of Bharata. Sharangdeva lists the 30 Nritta hastas and shares the view of some who say that these can be in turn applicable in Abhinaya too. Since Bharata says that the 2 hands of Lata pose are useful for both Nritta and Abhinaya, it can be inferred that others too may have mutual usefulness. However, Sharangdeva is quick to add that these are developed through tradition and worldly use together. For example, Karihasta for elephant. This truth is recognized by Bhatta, Abhinavagupta and other experts as per Shlokas 84 to 93. After 13 Nritta hastas, Sharangdeva gives 3 additional Nritta hands like Varada Abhaya, as told by later scholars who have considered temple ritualistic practices of mudras as well in Shlokas 283 to 286. Thus, we get a holistic summary of perhaps all present day gestures, and he categorically states that these are 67 and not 64 as believed by some scholars who take gestures like swastika and few more as mere attributes, in shlokas 93 to 99. The Upanga's division of 36 glances, shlokas 403 to 432, expressing rasa and bhava is extremely precise, and there is no room for vagueness or overlapping in subtleties. For modern practitioners of dance, the better use of eyes to enhance Satvik Abhinaya can result through this study and by following it. Sharangdeva refers to Kohala's Uttaratantra description of breathing as 9 kinds in 471 to 474. It is essential for dancers to observe the breath and the unheard, unmanifested, which is silence within while executing movement. This will help in understanding how the sages who have given this pure art, the form and content, have deeply meditated upon the deepest levels of the physical and the spiritual realms of existence. Sharangdeva says in the topic related to positions of hands in shlokas 532 to 537 that he is aware of both theory of the sage Bharata and commentators like Bhattanayaka, who gave 3 kinds facing up, down and sides, but himself being a practitioner, he would recognize 15 positions totally. These are practically very important for dancers today and actually being executed thanks to this Sharangdeva's Nartanadhyaya. The various practices like Shuddha Paddhati and Gaundali Vidhi, Perani Vidhi discussed in Nartanadhyaya, please refer to shlokas 1260 to 1325, can be linked with Marga or traditional and Desi or regional forms respectively. These are not associated with Bharata's treatise, which has definitely undergone changes as the Desi texts came about. This analysis attributed to Sharangdeva's times indeed has come from his observations that the Natya Shastra was already practiced as per the regional distinctness. This of course had been predicted and given scope by Bharata for the generations to come. Sharangdeva very often refers to himself as the son of Sri Sodhala and Nishanka or doubtless. He also names a stringed instrument as Nishanka Veena and Deshi Tala as Nishanka Tala. The chapter on Rasa comes last in Nartanadhyaya. He culminates the practice of dance as one which produces rasa as the goal of the enterprise. Jagannatha Pandita, author of Rasa Gangadhara, quotes Sharangdeva as an authority on problems related to rasa realization. In shlokas 1352 to 1362, Sharangdeva defines rasa as the permanent mood when it is revealed through enjoyment. It is founded on complete peace, self-revealing knowledge, and free from any distinction or impediment, yet dissimilar to knowledge of Brahman or Brahmavidya. It is based on various purely permanent sthayi bhavas like love, humor, etc. Sharangdeva points out in shlokas 1364 to 1367 the sthayi bhavas, the predominant moods of rasas, aesthetic enjoyment, can alternately become sancharis or fleeting moods in other situations or occasions when they are not fully developed by adequate description of vibhavas or determinants and anubhavas or consequence. This aids in the fulfillment of the action and subsequently the rasa. This view he suggests from Bharata's prohibition of jugupsa, which is a sthayi of bibhatsa or disgust, as a vyabhicharin for Sringara in shloka 1392. Sharangdeva's special feature has been the inclusion of Shantarasa as the 9th rasa by following Abhinavagupta. Sharangdeva says that for Shantarasa, the tranquil state, the sthayi is Nirveda or detachment. Nirveda, which is the sthayi for Shanta, is given as the first Vyabhichari Bhava, transitory mood by Bharata, even though it is considered inauspicious. Sharangdeva introspects on this and says that Bharata must have certainly implicitly thought of Nirveda as both permanent and transitory. We can take it to be associated with either Sthayi, which comes before this word is taken by Bharata, or Vyabhichari, which comes after this word, or both. According to Sharangdeva, when real knowledge, Paravidya, of the real nature of illusory things of the world dawns, this Nirveda is permanent in the being of the higher self, and when one loses a beloved or a dear person, or with the advent of any misfortune, the same Nirveda flashes for some time as a becoming feat of the individual self in shlokas 1358 to 1367. The difference between detachment, Nirveda, as in a yogi, and detachment in a lover and separation is to be understood. In the former, it is the permanent mood arrived with penance or sadhana, and the latter as a part of the changing flux of emotions. For example, a woman who is wanton becomes disgusted and then detached, but still bears hope for a better tomorrow with her man. As for those who feel that Shanta, which is depicted by quietude or Shama, cannot be in an actor who depicts the states of the world, Sharangdeva argues in shlokas 1359 to 1362 that this cannot be the basis for overlooking Shanta, because the rasa, the soup or essence of the art, does not belong to the actor in the first place. He says that actor is only a vessel to carry it, a patra, and rasa is tasted by the audience alone. And hence it is reasonable that Shama, quietude of Shanta, will certainly be enjoyed by the clean-hearted patra, concentrated of that mind which itself produces all bhavas in order to perform the varied role play. Now, this argument adds testimony to the standards of both performing and reasoning skills of Sharangdeva, or else such an amazing confidence in the inherent substratum would not have been so. Moreover, the detailed description of both the vibhavas, the anubhavas, as well as Vyabhichari bhavas given for Shanta, the ninth added on rasa, Bharata, which he had not included, is worth understanding from the text. He says Shanta is the natural state of the self, and the dance artist rests in this state, which is certainly an important point to ponder for all artists. Sharangdeva's answer to those who ask how is love and separation full of sorrow accepted as a rasa is that we find continuous suggestion of love in this state, just as there could be apprehension of future separation even while in union, in shlokas 1400 to 1402. This way he has handled doubts about sleep as well, if it exists in love, in separation or in union, showing his keen sense of humor. Natya Shastra gives three kinds of erotic Shringara: Kama, Artha and Dharma, with associations of emotions like anger and energy as well. Another beautiful analysis of Shringara with the three subdivisions of Bhakti, Rati and Sneha has been given by Sharangdeva. Bhakti, devotion, and Sneha, affection, are varieties of love or Rati, but between men, free of erotic sentiment, and may be considered as Vyabhichari bhavas, and they become sthayi when it is between man and woman, leading to Shringara rasa. Please refer shlokas 1516 to 1519. The art has undergone so many changes in the course of centuries. Sharangdeva again emphasizes in shlokas 1519 to 1522 that love and others are permanent when produced by many determinants, and when by few they become transitory. For example, laughter as an erotic sentiment is transitory, or love in tranquil, anger in heroic, fear in pathetic, and disgust in the fearful. Energy and astonishment are in all as transitory, and shama or quietude also exists, but as permanent. Now, this is an invaluable piece of scholarly insight by Sharangdeva. Although Sharangdeva generally follows Abhinavagupta, in some places he offers his definite views which are quite different. He clearly says that it resides in the spectator and not in the actor. Sharangdeva demarcates the existence of rasa, also called Shadava, in shlokas 1356 to 1358, like the 6 flavored taste buds, as exclusively belonging to the spectator and carried by the actor or patra. Whereas Abhinavagupta brings in the simile of a vessel or a pot that is itself overflowing towards the spectator with the same bliss of consciousness. The poet, actor, spectator are comparable to the root, tree, flower and fruit, and the hearts of all are pervaded by rasa. This question does not even matter according to Abhinava, as rasa is in essence the revelation of the self as generalized consciousness. Sharangdeva in the shlokas 1645 to 1653, under the topic of Sattvika Bhavas, has given the necessary philosophical edge to his text. He uses the word stambha, stupefaction, as a similar expression for the aesthetic experience. He says that when by these moods like love, one's consciousness is modified and gets identified with the soul, prana, this in turn would identify with the body and a state of stupefaction is produced. In this way, produced by the determinants which are being relished and indicated by the consequence, such as stupefaction, these internal states shine forth in the soul on which consciousness has been superimposed. They are called Sattvika Bhavas, as they rest in Sattva, or the vital breath. Sharangdeva also highlights the Sattva Guna, meaning goodness of Samkhya philosophy, accepted to be pure in body and soul. There is a beautiful exposition of the vital breath or prana emanating from the elements and their respective perceptive senses. Sharangdeva shows an uncanny depth in the philosophical schools in tracing the flow of breath or energy from the earth to water, to fire, to wind, and to space, and also vice versa. Sharangdeva directly associates stamba, stupefaction, with breath based on earth or dhara, ashru, tears, with breath based on water or jala, vaivarnya, change of color, and shveda, perspiration, from that based on fire or teja, and pralaya, unconsciousness, from that based on ether or akasha. When prana or breath is independent, it indicates romancha or horripilation, vepattu, trembling, and swarabheda, change of voice respectively, depending on whether it is weak, medium or strong. This way, Sharangdeva seems to imply that pranavayu moves up and down in the Sattvika Bhavas. Assuming the stance of an evolved personality, the writer says in shloka 1654 that external traits of stupefaction, etc., are not easily produced in case of great people whose breath is steady, is what he perhaps means, and the same is obvious in the ordinary. Summarizing the above, The eternal consciousness rasa is the recognition and resting through tasting of one's essential beatitude according to Abhinava, while Sharangadeva, it is modification or superimposition of consciousness and not the eternal consciousness. Abhinavagupta simultaneously distinguishes the subtleties in religious and aesthetic experience with a sharp intellect. Religious experience being rather detached and aloof, and aesthetic experience being totally involved in the experience. There is neither otherness or a constant effort to unite with a higher entity, but the realization of just the one unity in the triad of performer, stage, and spectator. Bhattanayaka was the first to associate rasa with mystical experience, and Abhinava echoes this view, but both maintain the unmistakable characteristics of the two. Now, the debate can exist for years whether rasa is purely in spectator or artist, who has only bhavas, or is it mutual and reciprocal. The practitioners have to ask themselves as to why the audiences identify with the feelings of a Rama or a Krishna, although neither they nor the actor have ever seen these heroes. So, how is it that even a child can easily point out that when such and such a thing has happened, it is wrong and the villain would have to atone for it? That means even the ethical values seem to be coexisting within everyone, and drama becomes the platform for this recollection or the reconnection.